Okay, so now we're going to put the hair canvas into the back of the jacket wool. So line up your canvas, the edges of your canvas with the back of your jacket. Here you can see I already have my center back seam allowance cut out. You do not have to have that cut out yet. And like in the front, just start pinning kind of from the outer edges or from the center out, okay? And line up those edges as best you can. Remember, there's fit in your jacket. Most likely there will be fit in your jacket up here. Um, so it makes it harder because it's not going to lay exactly flat. But it is a little easier than the front because there's not as much contour in the back as there is in the front. So just pin it in. If you have a dress form, once it's pinned in, you can kind of put it up against your dress form and see if it's laying nicely. Okay. Once it's in and you have it pinned like you like, go ahead and do some diagonal basting stitches to hold it in place. 3 or 4 rows, depending on how big your jacket is. It should be plenty to hold it in place. So just baste that all in, and once it's basted in, you can take your pins out and kind of just put them around the edge to hold things together. Okay, once the hair canvas is basted in place, we're going to start hand tacking it to the wool. So make sure your hair canvas, if it's extending past your wool line, cut it back so it's the same as your wool. And measure from the wool, just like I'm doing here, in about 9/16 to 5/8 and mark it on your hair canvas. Then trim away the seam allowance on the hair canvas only. Do not trim away the wool, okay? If you trim away the wool, you're going to have to cut a new wool piece and stitch a new wool piece into your jacket, okay? So you just want to trim away the hair canvas. After you've done that at shoulder seam, side seam, and center back, you're going to then catch stitch your wool, or sorry, your hair canvas to the wool, okay? So at center back, as you see here, I'm catch stitching the hair canvas to the wool. Okay, so I'm catching the hair canvas and I'm catching the wool within the seam allowance of the wool, all right, and then the hair canvas. All right. So you're going to catch stitch, again, you're going to catch stitch your hair canvas to the wool at center back, at side seam, and at shoulder seam. Okay, so once you finish doing the hand tacking, you can check and make sure there's no huge puckers in your fabric. And you can give a press from the wrong side wherever you did your hand tacking. Okay. You shouldn't see any huge puckers or threads sticking through. Again, you only want to grab a little bit of the wool as you're doing it. So now we're going to stay stitch our neckline and our armhole. Okay. So you'll stay stitch these at a 1/2 inch. Okay. And again, you'll do it at the neckline and at the armhole. And once you're done stay stitching, feel free to give your uh, garment a quick press in all the parts where you did your hand tacking. And now you've set in your hair canvas into your back panels of your jacket.